Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions you have about this watch. So today we're discussing one of my favorite types of watch to present, a watch for which there is much to say, and about which much will be said. This is a timepiece made by IWC from the Aquatimer dive watch collection, but it's a fairly oddball, even by the standards of complicated dive watches. Now, one might argue we don't need lots of complications on a dive watch, but sometimes more is more can be both entertaining and fun, and that is the philosophy behind this Aquatimer Perpetual Calendar digital date month. This is reference 3794-06. It is made of ceramized titanium, so there is a ceramic layer atop the titanium, making for both scratch resistance and relative lightness. Of course, the original version of the Aquatimer digital date month, the Perpetual Calendar of 2013, that was made in gold. This one in ceratanium, a blue edition of 25 pieces. It had a 25-piece red-toned counterpart. Both watches launched in late 2023 as a tie-in to the Aquaman movie, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So Dr. Stephen Shin had a blue-hued IWC prop watch, and Black Manta had a red-hued prop watch. So this watch and its red counterpart are in reference to those prototype prop watches. IWC has a division called XPL that makes prop watches, prototypes, and special promotional pieces, and they supplied the props to the movie. Now again, those were unique to the movie. These use the color of the prop watches. They are not literally the prop watches, so just keep that straight. So lots to say here. It's huge. 49 millimeters in diameter, it's 19.9 millimeters thick, and then from lug tip to lug tip, 58 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We have a pull-tab quick-release system for the strap, and what I like here is that the quick-release system is built into the strap. It's not part of the case assembly, so any 22 millimeter strap with a conventional spring bar will work on these lugs. You can fit special IWC quick-release straps, or you can fit conventional aftermarket and custom-made 22 millimeter straps. So the quick-release system doesn't lock you into an OEM solution, which I love. You can see there's a bellows type system to make it more flexible, vulcanized rubber, IWC branded. We have here a pin buckle. Get a good look right there. And you can see it too is made of ceratanium, a ceramized coating on a titanium core. It gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you the relative lightness of titanium and the scratch resistance of ceramic, and it doesn't have the shatter risk or fracture risk of ceramic. I will say though, even though this watch is made almost entirely of sapphire rubber and ceramized titanium, it's still quite heavy simply because it's so large. Remember, this is larger than a big Pilot, and that by quite a margin. Throw it on my wrist, and my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it dwarfs my forearm. Although it doesn't look thick proportionally, it is thick in an absolute sense. But you're going to need a wrist of 18 centimeters circumference or larger to really wear this reasonably, because it is so large. But a very cool piece that certainly justifies its size by packing itself with features. On the flank, this is actually a cover to a differential. IWC's Safe Dive system, you can see it's a bezel that allows you to ratchet the internal indicator to line it up with the minute hand for a dive, and it is a unidirectional ratchet that allows you to make all of those adjustments without actually taking your fingers off of the outer bezel. So you can see how these things move independent of each other. That's due to the differential system right there in the ratcheting action. We'll take a look at the lume. It is not the most brightly loomed watch because the blue variant of Luminova is not the brightest, but you can see that there's a fair number of features, including a loomed running seconds hand, which I appreciate because you'll know if your dive timer is running. And then you can see that the first 15 minutes of the dive are clearly marked in 5-minute increments, also highly appreciated. Because of the knurling and the ability to grip the outer diameter of the bezel so firmly, this bezel would work well if your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved, so particularly useful for actual aquatic activity. It's not a super deep diver, though it is a diver. It's 100 meters water resistant with a screw-down crown. Taking a look at the dial side, you can see that we have this lovely honeycomb-style grill over the discs for the calendar. Now, this is the IWC Kurt Klaus Perpetual Calendar System, which is to say, by the way. Take a look right there. Hacking seconds is one feature. The watch features a mechanically programmed perpetual calendar that is adjusted using a quick set. You can see it has a big date, and as it advances, so does the month, and so does the leap year. Mechanically programmed, so all you need to do is make the same number of corrections as days the watch is set inactive, and you can quickly and rapidly bring it up to the correct current date, month, and leap year. Also important to note, the perpetual calendar, once set, doesn't need to be touched until the year 2100. As a chronograph, you could see there is a superimposed mono counter up at the top, and so we have coaxial chronograph hours and minutes, and the minutes are in a 60-minute format, not a conventional 30-minute chrono register, but 60. Taking a quick look at the center seconds now, you'll appreciate that there's flyback action, which allows to reset and restart without having to stop, reset, and restart. With a flyback system, you can reset and restart instantly. Excellent for timing events that occur in rapid succession. The watch features a IWC manufacturer caliber that includes a column wheel for crisp function selection, but then also a vertical clutch for chronograph engagement. So when the chronograph engages, there's no jump or stagger to the chronograph seconds hand. Another advantage of the vertical clutch is that you can leave the chronograph engaged full-time if you wish to do so. There's no additional wear, tear, and thus no additional hazard to the watch. Not a whole lot to say under the Caseback, though you get a little bit of a taste. The watch features a caliber that is IWC's own and largely responsible for the thickness of the watch because of all of its features. The perpetual calendar module was designed by IWC watchmaker Kurt Klaus in the 80s and then modified in the 2000s to include the digital interface. The watch also features a base caliber that has a unique 4-pawl version of the IWC Albert Peloton pawl-based winding system. You can see that right there. So it's a little bit more efficient than a standard Peloton, which typically only has 2 pawls. This one has 4. 68-hour power reserve, 51 joules, 4 hertz beat rate. It features a free sprung balance adjusted in 5 positions. And as you can see, there is quite a good deal of depth to this movement. It's interesting to look at, and though primarily mechanically finished, it does feel worthwhile, and it definitely deserves its Caseback, as we have different finishes, textures, tones, and focal planes here to create a lot of visual interest on this movement. Lots and lots and lots to love on that count. A watch that is chock-a-block with features. If you come from a more is more school of thought, this is your dive watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. One last detail, this movement is called the 89802 for those of you keeping score.